What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crown Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we are breaking down
And literally just watched
There Will Be Blood. I drink your milkshake.
I go all the way across the room and I drink it up.
This movie's so good because there's so much richness with the meaning. Like, I was taking notes the whole movie, and there's so much to pull from this movie.
I will say, yes, this movie's crazy, but I won't make the argument, but Daniel Day-Lewis's character in this movie is one of the most interesting characters I've ever seen.
Yes, film. It's because he has this thing of where he's psychopathic, sociopathic, but he also isn't sometimes.
He doesn't want to be.
He's so complex.
Yeah.
Which is what's so interesting to me is like watching it. The more you watch it, the more you pick up with his character.
Yeah.
And so you just see the complexities of him, and they write him so well where he feels like a living, breathing human being. Plus with Daniel Day-Lewis's performance, it's like insane.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me. Like he's trying so hard, and Daniel Day-Lewis does such a great job of showing that.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, he really is you could tell that he's annoyed with people. That's the thing with watching this. This is my second time watching this. Watched it a couple days ago for the first time. And it's so interesting to see it the second time when you know that he genuinely just hates people.
Yes.
So once you see that from the beginning all the way to the end, it's kind of funny, but it's also terrifying.
That's what's interesting about the movies, because when you first watch it, I think it's about halfway through the movies when he gets revealed and he tells his true intentions of who he is. But in the beginning, you almost think he's a good man.
Yeah.
Because the things he's doing seem good. He's preaching good things to the people. I'm going to build you roads. I'm going to make sure that bread's not a luxury in this town. We're going to make sure the farms are well. He's making all these big promises. But when you watch it that second time, knowing who he is, you can tell these little signs of realizing oh, that's not who he is. A big one is whenever he adopts basically HW. Mm-hmm. After his father gets killed in the well, one of his employees, he adopts HW and raises him as his own son. But when you notice, when he has HW, he never holds him.
Yeah.
He keeps him in a basket. So it's a baby, and when you have a baby that's crying to you or reaching out, as a human, your instinct is to pick him up.
Yeah.
Because it's a baby. They need something, so let me hold him and caress him and make sure he's okay. But he never does that. He always keeps him in the basket.
Well, kind of more on that, he doesn't understand anything about being a father. And I don't think even if it was his own kid, he would ever get it. I think that's the point of his character, is that he's so conflicted. Because by the time that HW is, I think, 11, or maybe he's 13.
Yeah, I don't know whenever.
That's when he's holding him. That's when he decides to pick him up. You see it a couple times, in scenes where he is carrying this 13-year-old child around like a baby. That's just not normal.
Right.
Yeah, he's way too big. So he learned that too late.
Right.
Almost, because he's just not capable of really being a good dad, because he's just not capable of loving. That's where I think the conflict of his character is, or one of the conflicts, is that he wants to love this boy so much. He actually wants to, or at least my taking, he wants to be a good father and feel like a good father. He doesn't want this to just be a face value. I'm using you so I can approach people in 1911 and buy their land. He actually wants to kind of mean it.
Well, that's where there's the depth of his character, because he seems to me like he doesn't love his son. But then again, there are scenes where he does look like it.
Yeah, but it's not that he does. It's he's trying. All the roughhousing and everything.
Sure.
The one scene that comes back to me is after he tells HW that you're a bastard in a basket. It cuts to the scene where they're by the drill, and it's HW kind of pulling a prank on Daniel, because Daniel tries to be this playful father for a show almost. And the moment that HW does it, he kind of laughs it off, but then you see him fucking yeet this kid down.
It's his playing is still too rough.
Yeah, but then he immediately leaves. He walks away to the drill. Right. Because essentially HW pulled the prank on him and maybe embarrassed him in front of the people that were sitting around.
Yeah.
And so once HW tries to give back what he understands as love, Daniel's just like, no, I don't like this game anymore.
Right.
This isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like, there's obviously he's using HW to get more business in the beginning. This is my son. I'm a family man. No, you're not. You're using him to get money and to get these business deals. But then there are some scenes where it seems like he does care about him. But in the end, he really doesn't care about him. Like the big scene that in my mind, proves that he doesn't care about his son is whenever HW gets his eardrums blown out and he goes deaf from the gas explosion at the oil well. Sure, Daniel picks him up and takes him back to the house.
Yes.
But then what does he do? He drops him off and goes to the well and stays there all night to make sure that, first of all, is the oil okay? Can we secure the oil? Are we set? And then after the morning and they dynamite up the explosion in the fire, then he goes and rescues, or not rescues, but, you know, consoles and sits with HW.
Well, and don't forget this. He goes back to the drill, watches it at night, and then starts celebrating. Like he kind of like gives his partner a high five. Right. Essentially. And it's like, dude. I mean, that to me, that shot was like kind of like a selling his soul type thing. Like his son had to become deaf for the oil to actually like work in a way. Yeah. You know, and he's happy about it. Right. You know,
I loved in that scene how he's covered in like the black oil. So it's almost like just his eyes being kind of crazy looking at the
And then the other guy who actually seems to care more about HW when he's at the oil well and then it's at night and spewing out. He's like, "Where's HW? Is he okay?" I'm pretty sure that Daniel says, "No, he's not okay."
HW okay?
No, he isn't. Yeah, he could have, but yeah, he's like, "What are you worried about?" Like
exactly. So, but he's like, "Where is he?" He's like, "Oh, he's in the mess hall."
Which scene is this?
This is once is that night once the fire's going to the oil well.
That's when he asks him.
He says, "How's HW? Or is HW gonna be okay?" He says, "I think he says no, he's not gonna be okay." And he says, "Where is he?" He goes, "In the mess hall." And then that guy goes and leaves. So whenever that happens, talking to what Scott's saying, Daniel's basked in the oil, so he's so dark in the frame you can only see like some of his face, but the other guy has no oil on him. So that's kind of showing the darkness of the two characters. One guy who cares about HW because he's a better human than Daniel is, clearly. No oil on him. You can see him very clearly, but Daniel's just basking in that darkness of the oil, where he almost got baptized by the oil.
Yeah. But even then, sometimes I like, on the second watch, is that guy as good of a character as we would like him to be? Because at the end of the day, Daniel drops him off on the train, you know, and he's abandoning his child. Yeah. You know, we all know what that is.
What a turn of events.
Yeah.
You're like,
no. Yeah.
It's so brutal watching that.
Oh, it's crazy. And then, but his assistant is the one that stays on the train with him. And on the second watch, I was trying to remember, does he stay with him? Like, is he now raising him? He doesn't. He comes back.
Yeah, he drops him off at some type of boarding school or something.
As much as he loves the kid or cares about the kid, he likes that money.
Well, here's the thing. Daniel wants somebody to be a partner within his business that can help him thrive. So that way he can either offload the work to that person or it can continue the legacy after he's gone and retired and rich and can be away from people. So he can still make money through somebody else's working it. So in the beginning, that's HW. You notice that because throughout the whole movie, he's training HW of how to run the business. He's like telling about when they're sitting down in the field, he's talking about, I forget what he says, but he's explaining about the oil that's coming up and having him smell it. And
he's explaining the tracks that are going to go to the ocean. And
So he says that, and so you understand he's training HW to be his successor in the business. Yeah. But once HW proves himself to be worthless because he can't hear and they can't find a teacher for him, that's when he ships him off. But he only ships him off once his fake half-brother pops into play. So that's somebody else he can now... HW is worthless to him now because now he's got a brother who can be the one to be his partner in the business. But then once he finds out it's not his brother, then he kills him. And then he brings HW back. He's like, actually, I do need you. So he's really he uses people for what he needs. Yeah. Like, he may care for HW in some sense because he does have that flashback at the end where he's thinking about HW once he kicks him out. And he's like, leave, get out of here. He does have the flashback of like, damn, me and HW were close. He was basically my son, but he still doesn't have that humanity in him to like really love him and care for him as much. He just
Yeah.
wants to use them in whatever way he can to make money.
Yeah, and I think a way to kind of go more into that is that one of the speeches that Daniel gives to the people before he starts drilling the first time in Little Boston, I think is the name of the town.
Yeah.
Is that, he's a family man and he believes that wealth brings so many good things to a town like this. One of those things being education. But he doesn't really believe in that. And I think it's what I'm getting at is that Daniel, I don't think he taught him to read.
He doesn't, because there's a really cool shot in the movie that proves that HW can't read, because there's a scene where HW, whenever Daniel's somewhere else, he grabs Daniel's journal and he's, air quote, reading it, and it's upside down.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
So clear, that's just a brilliant way of showing that without telling you that HW can't read, because he's looking at a book upside down and doesn't understand that it's upside down. He's just looking at it, finds a picture think of his mother. He thinks it's his mother. It's a woman.
Yeah.
So I would assume that's maybe his mother. But anyway,
I think it's more of he's just trying to showcase that I'm not worthless. I can read. I don't know.
Who, HW?
Yeah, HW. He's like, no, like I'm good. I understand things.
Well, no, because he does it in his own. He does it by himself.
Is that
I
what it
think
is?
he's just curious about the notebook.
And I believe it's the brother's notebook. And this is when he tries to burn up the house. It was right before he burns up the house when he was looking through that journal.
Okay.
Okay.
But either way, journal upside down proves that HW cannot read.
Yeah. But then another thing on that speech is Daniel's talking about
What speech?
the first speech that not the first speech, the speech that he gives to Little Boston before they do the drill. He's explaining about how wealth will provide all these things, but he's telling them about how he's a family man. All the men that work for him are family men. And at one point he says, I encourage all of my men to bring their families out.
Now, this work that we do is very much a family enterprise. I encourage my men to bring their families as well.
I want them to be here, raise their children, educate them, and then it cuts to all the guys in the tents, and there's no families. You don't see any ladies, you don't see any children. So that's just a bold-faced lie.
Right.
And it's just those little things that. But the thing is, with these people, they're not gonna question that because all they hear is money.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I was watching that. But everything's a lie that he's saying.
Yeah.
But before we get too far, AI on Google is
You gotta
saying...
be careful with AI. Me and Gray have been led astray a couple
no
times.
way.
No, just a little inside of the show. Me and Gray had to cut an entire chunk of the episode out because we were talking about something that AI gave us that was just completely false.
No.
It said that AI told us that Roger Deakins worked on Avengers Endgame. And I was like, wait, what? And I was shocked. I was like, that's kind of cool that for this giant Marvel movie, they got Roger Deakins on it. But then we dig in, and there's not one source that says that. They just took all the sentences together and merged it into one thing to try to
It was
answer your
because
question.
Josh Brolin had said, I've worked with...
Yeah.
Yeah, that he'd worked with him before, and then it was
But so what did it say, Scott? The Google AI?
That when he was looking through the journal, he realized that he's faking to be his brother, half brother, and then he's trying to kill him.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is because he didn't set the fire on the side of Daniel. He set it underneath the bed of Henry.
He did.
So I could see that, but he definitely read that book. He read that journal upside down.
Well, here's something too. What could have been a reason why he wanted to kill Henry is because after he loses this hearing, Daniel pays him no attention. Yeah. It's he just kind of does his things he needs to do, feeds him, whatever, gets him checked out, and then he's always back to the well and pays him no mind. Yeah. And so then he sees Henry show up and he's giving Henry all the attention. So that's almost a call. It's like a cry for help that HW is trying to tell Daniel, hey, I'm gonna burn your house down so you can finally show me some attention. There's always things about kids doing.
That's how I took it.
There's always things about kids doing crazy stuff just to get attention from their parents who are neglecting them. So Daniel's closing into neglecting HW once he loses his hearing. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a cry for help, and he probably wants to kill Henry because Henry's stealing all the attention.
Yeah.
See, but that's why this movie is so good, because there's so much humanity, the dark side of humanity in all these characters, and it's just brilliantly written.
Why do you think when they're going swimming, why do you think the half brother was holding his head down? Do you remember this? I always thought that was
wondering.
weird.
I think he's holding his head down because he realizes that this is a question that he can't answer based on the fact that he knows. I think he got to know the real brother, Henry, and like he learned everything he could. And he's one of those guys where he just understands that this is a good deal. Like, oh, I could definitely like probably play this off and become his brother.
Yep.
Like he's a billionaire at this point. And but this was one of those things that Daniel brings up in conversation, and he has no idea what he's talking about.
See, my read on it is that because obviously whenever Daniel asks Henry, like we'll get liquored up and take him to the Peachtree dance, which is, you can infer that that's a childhood memory that they both should share if they came from the same place. And so whenever he doesn't give him much of a response, he realizes it's not his brother. So that I was wondering that too, because that's a long shot that they hold on Henry for. I think it's to set the unease of us question. I think it's two things. We're sitting on him to think, why did Daniel just have that reaction? So it gives us time to process of like, what is this? And we saw Daniel's face for a while. We know what his reaction is. So let's sit on Henry's face and see what's up. And then the second part is that it's to show us that Henry doesn't have any clue that he fucked up. Because he has his head down chilling, and then he picks his head up to look at Daniel, but there's no suspicion in his face or concern. He just puts his head back down and rests.
Yeah.
So that we know then that Henry doesn't even, he has no understanding of why he fucked up.
Got it.
I think that's why that long shot's there to hold on his reaction.
Well, I think, it's kind of like he understands, because Daniel has already admitted to him that he wants to make so much money that he eventually can just be away from people. So when you hear something like that from a person, he sees Daniel in the ocean by himself, and it's like, oh, like he's very happy right now. He's good. Like nobody's talking to him. He can like drown out the world in the ocean. So he's like, okay, like I think he's pretty good right now.
I like what this says too. The way he holds his head down while swimming can be interpreted as a visual representation of his submission and lack of agency in the face of Daniel's relentless ambition and control.
That says Eli though.
Oh shit. No, yeah.
See, AI is fucking dumb as hell.
We gotta start.
Yeah, but this is the only swimming scene.
Right. That's what I'm saying, that AI will lead you astray sometimes. 'Cause it's talking about Eli when it's not Eli.
Noted. Fucking 0 for 2.
Good to have
Scott's
you back,
a bit
Scott.
rusty on the keys.
Yeah.
But so one thing that's great about the movie, the opening scene, no dialogue. You're just seeing his actions. But that tells you so much about who this character is in like the base level without people.
Yeah.
So when the opening shot shows the landscape of the terrain, it has that odd, ominous type music playing over it.
Yeah, just dooming. Yeah.
Yes, because that land is going to bring Daniel to his doom. He won't know that at the end of it. He doesn't see himself as doomed, but as an audience reflecting on Daniel's life and his actions, you're like, he was doomed and he's going to hell for sure. And so then it cuts to him working in silence. So what it does is you can tell he works so hard for what he wants. He's dug this entire mine shaft by himself. So clearly he works hard. He works so damn hard that when he climbs up out of it, when he lights the dynamite, he can't even pull his tools up. He's done that a million times because we know he's dug this tall hole, and we know he's done it a million times because when he lights the dynamite, he's so nonchalant when he climbs up. He takes his time. He knows exactly how long the dynamite's going to last because he's done it so many times. Yet he's pushed himself so hard that when he tries to pull the tools up, he can't do it because he's way too tired because he's worked all day. And so he pushes himself to the limits physically and morally. Yeah. Right. Whenever he falls down in the mine shaft, once he gets the silver, he climbs back up, goes down the mine shaft and falls, breaks his leg. He has the competency to get out of the mine shaft with a broken leg and crawl through rough terrain all the way back to safety just to get paid. So he's got determination and grit. Yeah. We know that's what he's got. He's willing to do whatever it takes possibly to get paid for his jobs. Then I think it is still silent once they get the oil rig. Once they find oil for the first time, it's basically all silent for the most of it. That's when he gets HW, so it is silent. Yeah. You realize oil is Daniel's God. Yeah. He praises oil. He focuses on oil only. It's all about the money, and his greed fuels him to only love and praise oil. And you see that whenever for the first time, that stake that made the oil seep out of the ground comes up, he puts his hand on it and he raises it up to the heavens with the oil. And then there's some more religious symbolism there whenever HW's father dips the oil and gives him the mark, kind of like Ash Wednesday
yes,
type thing. So it's more religious symbolism there.
But it also, like, that was kind of I took that as, like, he kind of was selling his kid's soul in a way, because like his son is going to live a pretty tough life. I mean, pretty shitty life. I mean, he's deaf with a father that's not his father. And I don't know, like, it's just really rough for that kid.
Yeah.
But,
so then, you know, too, that he is willing to get in the trenches and get dirty, which kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. But when he's in the mine shaft, when he's in the mine shaft that is now oil, he's down with the guys. He's down with HW's father in the trenches. Even though he has employees, he's the ones down there that's bringing the oil up. So, he's willing to get dirty in the trenches to, get his money and make the oil.
Yeah.
So, like, that opening scene, it's a perfect little, damn near a short film, basically, that just lets you know everything you need to know about who this man is to the basic level.
Yeah.
Then you start to see the complexities once people get involved of how just corrupt and evil this man actually really is. So he dives deeper down there, but the opening scene gives you just like the baseline of who he is, the grit, determination he has, and how much he wants it.
Yeah.
Because even more about him when he falls down of kind of like his focus in life is, he breaks his leg when he falls down the mine shaft, but he doesn't check on himself really. He's like, oh. He kind of looks at his leg, but then he immediately turns the silver, spits on it. He's like, oh, the silver's down here. Thank God.
Yeah.
So, like, he doesn't care about himself. He just cares about the money.
Yeah. No, I mean, the oil is definitely his savior, because at this point, he's only doing silver and gold. And he's years behind, because we looked this up while we were watching the movie, that the gold rush only went from 1840 something to can you look this up, Scott, please? 1848 and
1855
to 1855. And so he's
Sigma
behind
Chi.
because it's 18
Sigma Chi.
1855.
1855.
So he's late to the party, like, as far as like silver and gold goes. Maybe there's some stuff going on in California. I mean, he is finding silver and gold, but oil is the new thing that's about to change the country, to change the world.
Yep.
And so, as soon as he finds that, that's the best thing. But I also took it as, I think I'm so fascinated with the fact that his character straight up admits that he hates people. He hates dealing with people.
Mm-hmm.
He sees the worst in them at all times. So that opening shot of the landscape of what he's about to do, it's kind of, and with that music that they have playing, it's like he understands that if this is the big one, he's going to have to deal with so many people. And then it immediately cuts to him like in the dark cave by himself. And I took it as like, this is when he's really at peace. This is when he's like, I don't have to deal with people. I don't have to deal with stupid shit that people just say all the time. Like, I don't have to negotiate. It is just me digging in this ground. It's me against the earth, and the earth isn't going to like try and talk to me.
Right.
Which, I mean, I love it. I love that throughout the whole movie, you can just tell every interaction, he just hates dealing with people, which brings me to Paul, the first brother, the twin brother.
Paul.
I think because he doesn't say that he hates everybody. He says that he hates most people. I think he actually kind of liked Paul, because Paul in that conversation was trying to get out of there. He was not trying to converse. He was not trying to find out. Like, he at one point does ask, like, is this your son? Who are you? But I think that's more of like, what is this? Like, what is his business? He's like investigating.
Doing his due diligence with his information investment.
Yeah, but like, he asks to sit down, which Eli does not ask to sit down. But yeah, and I think Daniel was like kind of a fan of him. He was like, no, you can stay. But Daniel doesn't want him to stay. And he was like, no, I want to go now. And I was like, my guy.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that works for me. You can get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, $500, get out of here.
He never's in the movie again, so that's more points to where Daniel probably does like Paul a lot better. But with him hating people, there's more symbolism, not symbolism, but there's more things in the movie that suggest that he hates people, because the first dealing he does, you get to see him how he manipulates and sells to people. In the first meeting, once he does strike oil, it cuts back to, I think it's like 1911 or something like that, when he's sitting in the room with all the people.
Yes.
And he's explaining how he's going to make them rich, when they dig oil. The whole plane is giving them the whole spiel. But everybody's kind of not sold. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of uproar. And so because he's realizing he hates dealing with people, knowing that later in the movie, and then now he's having to deal with this mob who's not all on his one side, he's like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this. No thanks. I'm out. So that's why he decides to say no to this first deal. He can make him a fuck ton of money if he can able to at least sell a few of these people. Like, right, all the land's going to make him so much profit, but because his entire mob is in uproar, he's like, I don't even want to deal with that.
I wouldn't take this land if you gave it to me as a gift.
Yeah. So
That's
he's like,
hard.
fuck that.
Yeah.
But that's a great scene, because you start to see how he manipulates his sales tactics, how we realize he's a liar. It's the first time we see him lie. He's like, this is my son, HW. We're a family business. I'm a family man. You're like, that ain't your son, boy.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about Eli asking him to say his name at the opening, the grand opening of the well?
That's good, because it's Eli and Daniel are like not opposites, but they're obviously they're butting heads in the whole movie. But Eli wants to be a businessman. He's using the spiritual realm. He's using the church to make his business. Daniel's using materials to make his business, oil, selling product, or selling the product of the oil. But so that's cool, because Daniel, I think his whole philosophy, he mentioned, he basically admits it, he wants to just destroy people. He doesn't want anybody else to succeed. So whenever Eli says, can you shout me out in the church? He refuses to do it later, because he's like, I can't let you win.
Yeah.
If I shout you out, I'm giving you business, and fuck you, I'm not going to give you any business.
That's a good take.
Yeah. I think it even goes a little bit before that interaction. It goes with the first interaction, because I think Daniel at this point, it's like you said, oil is his God. And I don't think he's a very godly man.
No, he rejects God at
Like,
least twice in the movie.
When he said, I love all religions, I'm a fan of all of them.
I'm a fan of all faiths.
So when it first comes to Daniel and HW coming back to the Sunday house, and they're having dinner, and they know that oil's there, but they're still trying to put on the persona that they're just quail hunters looking to just shoot quail.
Yeah, quail prices.
I think he gets annoyed with the fact that Eli, the very religious Christian man, is the one that's wanting more money. Because if you're a very devout Christian, you would just feel more blessed about the fact that somebody's here to give money and like kind of help your family prosper. Like it's a decent amount of money what he's offering them. So the fact that Eli, the devout Christian self-proclaimed prophet, is the one that's trying to negotiate for more money just shows right there that his character is just that. He's a self-prophet and he's looking for business, and that pisses Daniel off.
Yeah.
He's so mad. Like he was like, why am I negotiating with the religious man? You should be just thankful that this opportunity has arrived at your doorstep. But instead, you're greedy. So you're already a hypocrite. I hate you.
I think the audience thinks that. I don't think Daniel thinks that, because Daniel just wants to crush the competition. I don't think he's thinking spiritually about anything. But that's, you are right though, because that's what we see as the audience, is that he shouldn't be doing these things.
Yeah.
But I don't think Daniel sees it like that. I think Daniel just sees him as somebody that wants to make money or wants to make business.
I think that he is pissed that he is using God. You know what I mean? Like he's
Using
like, why
God
can't you
for
make my
profit.
son here again?
Yeah, definitely that.
He sits at the church and he's like, this guy, dude. You know,
he claims to cure arthritis in an old woman's hand.
Yeah.
Well, but I think it goes more to Daniel seeing that he's a charlatan. Daniel lies and cheats to get to the top, and he sees probably that Eli's doing the same thing. He's like, I see you, motherfucker. You're not going to do this while I'm doing it. I'm the only one that can win.
Yeah.
So don't be trying to trick these people into getting you more business. I'm already doing that. Because what supports that is whenever Tillman, the guy that's going to make him a millionaire when he wants to buy all of his tracts of land, and Daniel can finally retire and just raise his son, when he gets pissed off about that, The moment Daniel switches, when he starts to blame him, like when he gets really mad, and he's like, "You're telling me how to raise my son, how to lead my family," when he's not doing that clearly, but he comes to that conclusion once Tillman uses the sales tactic of talking about his family, like promising how you can raise your family, because you know that Daniel's done that in the past when he's talking to all the people. There's a really good example whenever he's talking to the two people in the beginning when he wants to buy their land. I think it's the first land he buys, the first lot of land he buys. He's talking to them and he gives them his whole sales pitch. They sit there and stare at him, and it just holds on Daniel, who's like studying them. No words are said, and then Daniel goes, "How old are your kids?" Or something about their children. So he's like pushing them back to their family, because he's like, think about what I'm going to do for you. Let's not think about what I'm going to take from you. Let's think about what I'm going to give for you, and think about your family. So whenever Tillman does that to Daniel and says, "Hey, think about your family," he's like, "I know what you're fucking doing.
Right.
Don't do that to me." And then it's twofold, because Daniel does probably feel guilty about giving his son away and abandoning him, and realizing he's, his image is going to probably get corrupted. And he also feels guilty for giving HW away. But he also knows that sales tactic of getting you to think about your family. But it doesn't work for Daniel.
And he's also an alcoholic. And so he just, goes way too much into it. Especially at the dinner, or when he's about to buy his son a steak, when he gets him back, he just all up in his face.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Because that scene goes into what we were talking about a little bit earlier with Daniel wanting to crush his competition. He crushes Eli by not letting him get business, because Eli's asking Daniel at the drill opening to shout him out so he can pray. So that way he gets more recognition and people can come to his church. That's why he wants Daniel to do it. He's doing a business decision. He's trying to get a shout out. But so he shuts him down there. Tillman didn't beat him, but he wants to crush him. And so he wants to show him, "I got the union job. You said I couldn't do it. I did it. Fuck you." And then wants to embarrass him and make him admit that he's a fool. So in that scene, he's drunk, but he finds an opportunity where I can finally crush this man.
Yeah.
And like the big crushing blows whenever he kills Eli, because Eli's the last person that he can crush in his life. He's already sent his son off, crushed his son's dreams, like, "Fuck you, get out of my life." Eli is the last person in his life that he hasn't just destroyed. Eli says he's kind of got some success. He's on radio. He's doing a bunch of stuff, but he needs a little bit of help still from Daniel. But Daniel just wants to crush that competition, because he's like, "You have a chance to succeed. You've gotten some success, so let me just crush you." And that's why he kills him. Mm-hmm. That just goes into Daniel just wanting to crush every single person that's in his vicinity.
I'm just glad that you brought up that Tillman scene, the first interaction that they have, because the two times that I've watched it, I was just like, dude, why? Why does he just go nuts?
Yeah.
He said, "I will find where you live, and I will cut your throat." And both times that I've seen it, I was just like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And I just loved the actor that plays Tillman, because that is like the best interaction that he could have had. He even tries to de-escalate. He's like, "If I offended you, I apologize." Like, holy shit, I'm trying to give you $1 million, and I thought this was going to be a really like easy day for me in my job. But now, that makes so much more sense that Daniel's just like, "You piece of shit. Like, you also bring it back to family."
So I don't think Daniel sees...
But I'm better at it.
A lot of people have business life and personal life. Daniel doesn't have either. He has business life only. He has no personal life.
Yeah.
Like, you never see him in personal life at all. Every time he's dealing with the son, they're talking about business. Every time you see Daniel by himself, he's in his notebook working on business.
I still think that even... Not necessarily, because like when he's hugging his son, it's still business, because he's just putting on a show for everybody to see,
and for HW to see, like, "I love you.
Yeah,
do my work."
Literally, it's the whole thing. So you're right. It's all business for him, but even when you get like the personal moments, it's BS. Like he doesn't. If you really look, he's not loving his kid like any normal man would.
No.
He's like kind of smacking him around. He's like grabbing him. He's hugging him way too tight.
There's no compassion for his son.
Yeah, he's doing what he thinks is what a good father would do. It's like being he's too affectionate.
And he's getting the task. He's just like doing what he needs to do for his son.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pouring up liquor in his son's milk, and even when he's a baby, he's trying to feed him a bottle with a little bit of whiskey on top.
Because to him, that's his solution. Like, "Oh, you're crying. Well, I prefer a glass of whiskey. That typically takes the edge off of me.
Yeah.
My 3-year-old boy bastard."
And he puts the whiskey or whatever alcohol it was She's fine. He's fine. I mean,
He'd be licking his asshole on the stream here.
it's all right.
He's just doing cat things.
Just cat things.
This is actually the most gizmo thing we could ever get.
Yeah. So whenever he pours the whatever alcohol it was in that milk, once his son's deaf.
I think Daniel's a whiskey drinker.
Yeah, it's got to be. It looked like
I'm
whiskey.
pretty sure it's whiskey.
Pours the whiskey in his son's. A lot of. I think it was clear though. Anyway, whatever it was, pours a lot of shit in his kid's milk because he wants to get him drunk so he can fall asleep and not deal with him all day.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like there's no compassion for his son. He's like, just get drunk, go to sleep so I can work.
Yeah.
Stop being a
Have fun.
burden to my fucking business, bitch.
Stop being deaf.
Yeah.
just like he keeps like trying to talk to him throughout the movie. He's like, "No, you're okay. It's all good."
Yeah.
And the son's just like, "I can't hear my voice."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, if you try hard enough." Like,
And that scene when he does leave his son, when he's like, I can't hear my voice, and he has to go back to the oil well when he stays there all night, it's so dark because if you're thinking about a father with his son, if that was your real son, you actually loved the kid.
yeah,
When you can't hear his voice and he's freaking out, you're going to want to stay there with your son and be there for him. But he's like, I have to go. He's like, you're going to be fine. I'll be right back.
yeah.
So it's like, there's
not
no
only
compassion.
that, he has another guy hold him down.
Right.
Like
Which
that's crazy. No,
like
no father one abandons his child in that scenario, but no father also restrains the kid either.
Yeah. Like in the perspective of the child, that's the worst thing that can happen. It's like the only parent figure I have in my life is leaving me when I don't know what's going
go
on.
make
I
that
can't
money.
hear. Something just exploded.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And yet my dad's just speaking words that I can't hear and leaving me. It's like, what's going on?
I want to talk about this because I don't, bad memory, but I think at this point you were kind of thinking that Daniel was a redeemable man, or at least like a good man. Like is that the point where you realize like, oh shit, he's not really the best guy?
You start getting more hints up to when he reveals
Because like
it.
obviously, like when you go back and rewatch it, you understand that when he's like claiming that HW is his son, that like his own son, you're like, well, he's lying. So you kind of get that on a rewatch, but I think that's something that you might miss on the first watch. So I feel like up to this point, he's a good guy. Like, okay, does HW tell Daniel before? Yes, he does. HW tells Daniel that the girl that he ends up marrying, what's her name?
Mary.
Is it Mary? Yeah. He tells Daniel, hey, Mary's dad beats her if she doesn't pray.
Yeah.
And Daniel like kind of grabs her in front of her father and says, you're not getting beat anymore, right? Daddy's not hitting you, and you see that scene and you're just like, he's a good guy. Like he cares about kids. He cares about people, or at least he's pretty good for a guy that's very hungry for money.
Right.
Like he's not a bad person.
So diving into his character, kind of what we're talking about with crushing people, that's another point I had where he's crushing somebody on the Sunday Family Ranch. It's a great day for everybody. They're opening up the first well. The Sunday family's going to get some money. They're going to get, I think they get royalties. Maybe they don't get royalties.
I think they get 1/6.
That was the other family, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a good day for everybody. Broke ground, have an oil well, money's on the land.
They're not getting as much as they definitely could have.
Right.
So yeah.
But so anyway, you think the father of the Sunday family is happy. Daniel may see that he's happy and wants to crush his success, where it's like, you can't be happy. This is my money. I
Yeah.
found it. So what he does is he stops his daughter and in front of him basically outs him about beating his daughter and embarrasses him. So then he's crushing the father of the Sunday family. His entire
I like
happiness.
that because he's annoyed. He was like, why are you not negotiating with me? How did you, the man that's been on this land for so long, how did you not? This is clearly at this point, oil is the big boom. This is like the next gold rush, really. Like oil is clearly the future. This is what makes people rich. If you hear about that, if you read that in the newspaper, how do you as a man not notice that there's like oil seeping on your ground? How was it that your son found me? and then I come to your house. You didn't approach me. I found you because your son noticed it. And then I negotiate prices with you and I ask you, how much do you think your land is worth? And you don't even have a number. How do you not know that? And I think it just pisses him off. He was like, you are a stupid man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Eli. That was like that was like his realest moment, is whenever he was like, you are a stupid man. You let this guy walk in here. And because I think they get, how much do they get for the house? How much do they get for the land?
I'm not sure.
The realtor said $6 an acre,
$6 an acre.
but he made a deal for, I don't remember.
I think it was 6,000.
No. Eli got 10 grand to start his church.
Oh, yeah.
Was it 10 grand? And then 5 grand was the bonus.
Yeah, they worked out some deal, I guess.
Did he get that 10 grand?
He started his church, so probably.
Okay.
Well, isn't that why he ran up to him when he started slapping him and stuff? Wasn't he asking for the money?
He was asking for the 5 grand. The whole thing, even at the end scene of the movie, Daniel never paid him that $5,000 bonus.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Greedy.
But no, you're definitely right that he just hates that this man who's sitting on this, it's going to make you so rich. How do you not want to be rich? How do you not want to be as rich as possible, like me?
Mm-hmm.
How do you not notice that you're sitting on land that has so much oil? And I ask you, how much do you think your land is worth? And you don't have an answer for me.
Yeah. That scene whenever...
How do you not think about that every minute of every day?
That scene whenever Eli comes in and slaps his dad or, gets on his dad and is like, you're a stupid man.
You're a stupid man.
That scene reveals who Eli really is, because the scene right before that is whenever Daniel slaps shit out of him and buries him down in the mud. So Eli, you think he's a Christian man, godly man, but he's really not, because after he got put down, he has to prove his power over his father. And what's cool in that scene, actually, Scott, can you go to the There Will Be Blood on the Paramount? And then can you try to find the scene where Daniel slaps him? So as Eli's walking up, ready to confront him, he's confident, he's wanting to get his money, his first confrontation. So here, Daniel shot, powerful shot, low shot. So now you see, I'm pausing.
Oh, okay.
So you see Daniel's here shot in a powerful shot because he's the man that's in power, has the control over the scene because he's the man that owns the land. Eli walks up. Eli's feeling confident, so he's shot in a low shot too, because he's feels like he has the righteous moment here where he's going to ask for his money back. So he's kind of feeling confident in himself. So they shoot him in a low shot.
We get our money down.
But then immediately he gets smacked down to a high angle shot where he's looking down. And if you notice throughout the scene, every single time Eli tries to stand up, where he gets above the high angle shot, he gets slapped back right there. Boom. He kind of comes up, so the camera tilts up at him to try to show I have something to say. Slap right back down to where the camera's looking down on him again. That happens the whole time
Aren't
through
you
here.
a
So
healer?
Eli's just
And
clearly
a vessel
not
for the Holy Spirit?
having the power.
When are you coming over and make my son here again? Can't you do that?
So, which is cool. And then the next scene, once Eli tells his dad that, if you can, let's see if I can see if you can go to that next scene. When he's about to tell his dad he's stupid.
Well, he doesn't even take a shower because he's essentially shown his father
what happened to him.
I got baptized in the devil's blood today.
So they're eating dinner as a family here at the table. The father's chewing, chilling. Eli's pissed off because he just got humiliated. And then when it cuts in on Eli, when he starts to confront his dad about his stupidity.
You are a stupid man, Abel. You've let someone come in here and walk
Eli shot
over us.
semi-low, where it's a little bit underneath him. It's not as straight on as his father was, because Eli's trying to find some sense of power after he just got humiliated. So he wants to put it on his dad.
I didn't realize he was crying during this.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that goes into his humiliation. He got so humiliated that now he has to find somebody of power in his life, his father, to embarrass, to make himself feel better. Then he gets on top of his dad, just like what Daniel did to him, to be like, you're stupid, you did this. He's blaming his father for selling the land, even though the father, in the business deal with Daniel, said, yeah, whatever Eli says. Eli was doing the deal.
Yeah.
which is great. That's another great scene breakdown if you want to go to that one. Whenever Eli's talking and kind of negotiating for his father on behalf of his father. So what's great about the movie is that it's so simple.
Doctors all say
It's shot so it's not simple. The movie's shot simply. They have a lot of long takes. There's so few cuts. They hold the camera so many times, so every cut has so much intention behind it.
Yeah.
So this scene here is a great example of that because it shows everybody at the table here where Daniel's trying to talk to the father who he believes is the man he needs to make the deal with. So he's chit-chatting with the father, trying to make the deal.
Well, also he's hyped.
What would you say?
He's pretty happy that this guy is just like, oh yeah, like whatever number you say is probably the number I'm okay with.
That's
Yep.
right.
So then he gets frustrated when Eli's no, 10,000.
Yep. So as they're talking here, you can see everybody at the table, and Eli's off to the side. Daniel's facing the father, who's trying to persuade him into selling him his land.
$6.
Eli keeps butting in because Eli's the real one that's here to negotiate. He's the one you need to negotiate with. He kind of has the brains of the family. The father clearly doesn't have any opinion about his land, doesn't know how much it's worth. Eli has at least some idea. What about the oil? $6 an acre. He's bringing the negotiation in. And so the camera shows that because it starts wide like this.
Now, of course, within that, we're going to develop a lease.
So then it cuts in again. Now it's more focused on Eli in the frame. It's a little bit closer because now we're starting to realize that Eli is the one that Daniel needs to talk to. So the focus is off the father because Daniel now realizes he has to talk to Eli.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to yet. That's why it's not focused on Eli yet. So he's still trying to talk to the father, but Eli's a little bit closer in the frame because they're trying to portray that Eli's the real one that has the negotiation power in the deal.
What about it?
We have oil here. That's worth something.
Oh, do you have someone who can drill for it?
So as Eli keeps
That's all
pressuring,
it
Daniel
seems.
realizes he has to talk to Eli
Doesn't
only.
mean there's anything underneath.
What would you give us for it?
I don't know.
Something you don't know.
That's right.
So because there's not much camera movement or it's very few frames and very few cuts, these close-ups are so impactful because now the father's no longer in the shot anymore. It's just between Daniel and Eli, which then foreshadows the main conflict of the movie where it's Daniel versus Eli. And so now it's just locked into these close-ups where this is the real battle of the movie where he's got to try to convince Eli to sell the land to him. So just that scene showing the dynamic of the power where Daniel thinks it's the father, but then as Eli starts to butt in, it jumps close. The only time it's close in this scene on their face is whenever he's talking to Eli, where it's the true battle.
Yeah.
So just though because it's such a simply shot movie and so few cuts in the edit, they allow these little moments to be so impactful, which is just great.
Dude, I'm just obsessed with Daniel Day-Lewis's portrayal of this character because, like, you see in his eyes, on his face, that look right there. He's like, I'm going to bury you.
Yeah, he's getting frustrated because somebody's actually putting up a fight against him. He's like, what the fuck? This is why I hate dealing with people. He's like, just give me the land so I can make money. Why are you in my way? Get out of my way. So, yeah, it gets close, too, because he's so frustrated in this debate. Like, he hates how he has to push so hard to get this sale.
I love it. I gotta watch more Daniel Day-Lewis movies, bro. This guy's crazy.
I don't know what other movies I've seen of Daniel Day-Lewis.
Bro, I saw Gangs in New York in college, and I think I half watched it. It's just one of those movies where I just like kind of threw it on.
It's a long one, isn't it? Like 3 hours?
Yeah,
plus?
I think that was part of the reason why I half watched it. I was like, damn, this is a big commitment for me. This guy's crazy. This guy's nuts. He's a method actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess, that was his whole thing. He was on set and just refused to break character. Isn't that crazy?
That's this guy.
Was the character
Yeah.
that was walking around on set. Can you imagine being a PA on this set trying to get Daniel a water? He was like, you give me a water.
And I drink it up.
I drink it up.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, sir. Like, I'm not getting paid this much, like, to deal with this. You're scaring me. You're scaring me. I'm going to file a lawsuit.
Did you know that Eli and Paul, his twin brother, weren't supposed to be twins in the original story?
Explain that to me, because, okay.
So originally, Eli was going to be a different actor. The guy that plays, what's his name? The guy that plays Paul and Eli?
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano?
Yeah.
Paul Dano was only supposed to play Paul, but they said on set he was so good that they were like, actually, let's cast you for Eli, which is a great happy accident because that adds some meaning to the movie, because when you see the face of Paul and then you see the same face walking as Eli, as an audience, you're kind of uneasy. You're like, is that a twin brother? Was he tricking him?
Yeah.
You're not really sure. It's not confirmed immediately. So that adds just kind of uneasiness to the character, because there's a lot of uneasiness that happens between Eli and Daniel. So that accident of casting the same character to make them twins actually benefited the movie.
Yeah. Well, and it definitely works for Daniel's character, because kind of like I said before, I think he actually enjoyed working with Paul. The negotiating, it was quick to the point. You never see Paul again.
Right.
Then he gets Eli at the dinner table and he's dealing with him. And Eli is just kind of, I don't know, Paul, the way that he talks in conversations, you could tell that he's like kind of trying to get out of a conversation, which I think Daniel enjoys that. He's like, oh, thank God. Like, you're really just straight to the point. Whereas Eli is a lingerer. He's annoying.
Yeah. He asks for more.
Yeah. He's just like it's a blessing. Okay. Well, it's a short blessing. It won't take that long. It's like kind of those things. And I think he's so annoyed that he's seeing the face of somebody that he actually kind of enjoyed, and now he's got to deal with this bitch ass twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, God, you suck. Like, your brother was awesome. Like, I wish I was still dealing with Paul here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things that, obviously, like, one of the main points of this movie is like dealing with, I think, capitalism versus religion, and kind of the take on part of me thinks that it's what every billionaire wishes they could do, as far as whenever they have to donate money to a religious cause or church, because deep down that a lot of those guys probably don't give a shit,
Right.
because they've achieved billionaire status, so they don't have to like rely on God at all to them.
Well,
And-
that's the same with Daniel. Daniel's never relied on God. He's only made it happen himself, so he only trusts himself.
Yeah. And so I enjoy that Daniel essentially is the first one that baptizes Eli in that scene that we just watched, where he starts slapping Eli around, and he kind of baptizes him in his blood, in his God, the mud that brought him to this fortune, this whole lifestyle. And Eli is the one that gets him second. But I'm a fan of the fact that Daniel got to do it first.
That's interesting. I didn't get the baptism thing. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Because those scenes are two contrasting scenes, because Daniel humiliates Eli when he asks for money, and Eli's feeling confident, wants to step up and own what and wants to get what he deserves, what he's promised, but he gets humiliated. And then Eli, because again, going to his true nature, he's not baptizing Daniel for the good.
It's clearly revenge.
It's pure revenge, and he's trying to humiliate Daniel as much as he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he's making him scream, I've abandoned my boy, he does the same thing to him in the mansion, where he's like, I'm a false prophet. So they're just keep going.
That's the beauty of it, is that it's a back and forth battle. So you get Daniel essentially making the first strike and baptizing him in the mud blood. And then you get Eli getting his revenge.
Mud blood.
But Daniel, yeah, you like that? Daniel, he's not going to lose. So Daniel obviously like wins the battle. I mean, he kills him. And he like even steps in his blood at the end. But it was good to
which kind of same thing what HW did with the oil. Step in the boot, same part of the boot touched the blood as the oil.
I noticed
so
that,
there's some connection there. I don't know. I can't articulate what that means exactly, but there's something there.
Well, I think that it just shows, because the movie is showing that. I think I think it's capitalism versus religion, but it's also showcasing that people that totally buy into capitalism, there's no way that they'll ever be happy.
Right.
Because Daniel achieves billionaire status. I mean, this has to be one of the richest men in the country, the world, everything. This guy is sheltered up in his house, drinking himself and getting mad at people. It's like, if I was a billionaire, I would never get that mad. I'd be okay. I wouldn't be that pissed off all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't ever see him trying to like find love.
Nope.
Which I think is, I don't know, like, I think that's something that most stories focus on with the protagonist, is that while they're trying to achieve success, they're trying to like find love. Daniel never shows interest in any woman in this movie. And it just goes to show, like, it's because he's just pissed. He's so mad.
Yeah,
the only thing that ever makes him happy is the day that he finds out he made more money.
Right. Yeah. His sin's not lust; it's greed.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole movie's about his greed. That's very clear. It's a lot of religious symbolism.
Yeah.
That's
Which we
his
talked.
sin.
Yeah, we talked about that in the movie. It's interesting that Eli tries to accuse him of having lust for women, and I would have to see the scene again when he does that. But I wonder if Daniel kind of let off a face of like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't lust for women at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disgusted with people. So if you think there's one shot in hell that I would pay for sex, first off, bad business. Second off, I think whores are disgusting. Like,
I think I'd pay for dirty pussy.
Yeah, like that's his character. Like, so you just know that there's no way he actually would pay for sex, because it's just a double whammy. It doesn't work for his character. Like, can you imagine him having sex with somebody and paying for it? He's pissed. The whole thing is just wrong.
Yeah.
And so I would want to see, can we see that scene? Because I feel like he's kind of mad that he can understand that he got accused for abandoning his child.
Mm-hmm.
But part of me thinks that he's also a little bit more pissed that he's getting accused for something that is just actually not true.
Can you go full screen on that, Scott?
Backslider. You've lusted after women and you have abandoned your child.
Just one quick point on this too is when you do watch the scene, if you notice, every shot Eli's in, it's a super low angle, because he's really feeling the power over Daniel at this moment. Because he's in front of a crowd. Daniel can't really break character. He has to be like he's getting baptized and confess his sins to the Lord. But so every shot you see Eli in, without Daniel in it, it's a close up and it's way underneath him. Yeah. Just that's that power there. But okay, we can go ahead with this.
You've lusted after women and you have abandoned your child.
He kind of raised that
child that you raised. You have a
he's kind of like
what's wrong? False.
Yeah, just making up sins for him.
Yeah.
What's cool too with the symbolism of him being evil and a little bit of religiousness, every time Daniel's at his worst, he's shot in firelight, as if he's the burning in hell he's gonna get after he dies is revealing itself to him. The points are whenever he leaves HW after he goes deaf, when the gas explosion happens and they broke ground on the oil, the fire lights him up and you realize he's neglecting his son in this moment and is only focusing on the oil. So he's prioritizing his greed over the love of his son. Love, very godly thing. He's turning away from love. And then whenever he confesses who he is to his brother, of how he just wants to destroy people, he hates people, you realize, oh, he's not a good man. This is actually a really bad man.
Yeah.
Candlelight, firelight, it's orange light. It's that fire flickering. And then whenever he kills Henry, after he finds out it's not his brother, fire, camp light, you see him to kill. So there's so many times whenever he's being at his worst, you see him bask in firelight, as if the depths of hell are calling to him, of like, that's what you're going to get.
That's awesome.
Paul Thomas Anderson, dude. The man's good.
Yeah. He wrote this whole thing with Daniel Day-Lewis in mind.
They're a great combo. They've done multiple movies together.
Have they?
Had they at this point?
Let's see. Let's fact check. Phantom Thread is what Daniel Day-Lewis was with Paul Thomas Anderson on. I guess so, yeah. So they only done 2 films together. For some reason I thought they did more, but it was just There Will Be Blood and Phantom Thread.
And we're back. Well, it's just interesting that he wrote Daniel Day-Lewis in mind for this role, but they had no idea that Daniel was going to do this. Like, he knew he was going to bring a great performance.
It's easy to say.
It's that voice.
It's easy to say this is probably one of the best performances on the screen ever.
Yeah.
I mean, we say that a lot because there's so many great performances, but this is one of the top tier performances.
But bro, it's that voice. And it's the fact that, we did a little bit of research and we know that like there's not audio for the most part of the 1900s, this early on in history. to understand what people talked like. And so the fact that he chose this voice, it's iconic, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's very odd that he went that route. Like, because I feel like most actors would have read that script and probably would have gone for more country.
Mm-hmm.
Like more like a little redneck, little like, because he's an oil man.
Right.
You know, he's down in the trenches. You wouldn't expect him to be so well spoken. You wouldn't expect him to sound like what you would think the Monopoly man or the Pringle man would sound like.
Yeah.
But like, part of me likes to think that they looked at those two characters, Monopoly and Pringle. We're like, what do you think they sound like?
Well, Daniel mentioned that what he likes to do is he likes to imagine what the voice would sound like before he even ever tries it.
Okay.
So he says he feels like he has the voice already in his head before he ever tries to speak it. And so then that's kind of how he works it out. It's like he has that in mind of like how it would sound. So he's listening to the recordings. Like they said that he saw some recordings that Paul Thomas Anderson gave him from the Dust Bowl era and stuff like that, just kind of here. And he took like, he said he wasn't copying anybody that he heard, but he would take maybe like a little nugget of something there. And then he would transform it and create his voice of what he believed that this guy would sound like.
Yeah. Because it's interesting to think, you know, with the way that he talks and how well-spoken he is, you know, when he approaches a family out in the middle of nowhere, you know, just a simple farm family, you know, that kind of talk like this probably.
Yeah.
If he were to do that without HW, it's probably going to be a little off-putting. You're probably going to think this guy's a douchebag. You might think like, oh, this is a legitimate businessman, but I think people, for the most part, are probably skeptical at this point. It's like having the son like helped him and everything. But no, as far as Anderson goes, he actually considers this a horror movie because I definitely saw an interview or some clip where he says that he kind of referenced Dracula to this movie, which, you know, makes sense because Daniel is literally sucking the blood out of everybody that he knows. Like that's like his whole thing. And it goes back to that first shot of him down in the darkness in the hole by himself. There's no music to show that he's like anxious or anything.
Yeah.
It's like he's at peace.
Yeah, so this says, some might view Plainview as a monster, and in fact, writer-director Paul Thomas Anderson says he modeled the character partially on an icon of the horror genre, Count Dracula.
Yeah.
He said it in quotes, I just had it in my head underneath it all that we were making a horror film.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's great about the movies, as you watch it, you start to really see the horror of the character and you realize the evil of it all, because the evil really is the back half of the movie, the evil is in your face. But the front half of the movie, you really see the evil of just the manipulation that maybe is being played on the audience when you first watch it, where you think he might be a good man. But like once you watch it again and again, you start to see and pick up on these little evil things he's doing and the manipulation he's doing. And you start to realize the things that he's saying isn't true probably. And then how he treats HW and all these things just kind of play once you know who the character is.
I'll say the music at the very start of the film is horror.
Yep.
Yes.
It's cool because the music piece wraps that whole the whole opening scene. That music piece wraps it. Horror. You see what happens with him when he finds the well, and then it cuts back to the land with the same music from the opening. So he kind of wraps that whole thing in like one full circle of like, this is where the horror starts. Once he finds the gold, this man's going to the depths of hell.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I definitely enjoy the score because there are plenty of scenes where Daniel is about to engage in human conversation. And there's sometimes where the music is just straight, like pumping anxiety through the audience because he's just like, God damn it. Like, can't believe I have to do this again. I'm so sad that I have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's definitely what they were going for.
Yeah. All right. Before we wrap into ratings, I want to talk about the ending scene of how impactful that is, because we were talking about it earlier, how Daniel wants to crush all of his competition. So that final scene, he kills Eli because he wants to crush the last person in his life that he can. The one person that might have a chance for success, his potential competition, not really in the oil industry, but at least in just business in general. He wants to crush him, so he kills him. And it's cool because when his butler comes down with Eli dead in the bowling alley and Daniel sitting there, he turns back and says, I'm finished. because he's finished his work in his head to where there's nobody else left to crush. He's made it to the top. He has his mansion secluded away from people. Even when you watch the shot of his mansion, you can tell it's secluded because the trees cover a lot of the house. The trees kind of encapsulate the entire framing. So you know it's secluded, and it's kind of where his dream life would be, even though it's so sad and lonely. And so he crushes Eli, kills him, tells the butler he's finished because he's finished his work. He feels like he's made it to the top. He's crushed all of his competition. He's become basically a billionaire in today's time, and he has everything he wants.
Yeah.
And then the music hits because the music is a triumphant, preppy sort of sound because it's ironic for the scene and what we saw, but in Daniel's head, he's made it.
Yeah.
So it's like that ironic sense of success. We did it.
And it's the same music that plays when they open the well.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Nice. I kind of took it, well, because, you know, like I said, I watched this movie for the first time a couple of days ago, and then I looked up and saw that Anderson based this off of Count Dracula. And so to me, you know, Daniel's whole character is he loves sucking the blood of his enemies, or at least sucking the blood of pretty much everyone. And so when he says, I'm finished.
He's a real sucker.
Yeah, a real sucker. It kind of ties into the fact that he's saying I'm finished. And I initially took it as like, I'm fucked. Like my business is over. I'm probably going to prison, you know, just like kind of that. But now on the second watch, it's more of like Dracula, like, cause he was eating his dinner as he was playing with Eli.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but then he kills Eli and says, I'm finished. So it's more of his way of saying I'm finished with my dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't really mention this too much, but like, there's so little humanity in Daniel.
Yeah.
Like
dude.
so little.
Yeah.
And so, you know, him just killing somebody and be like, I'm finished. And with this, how he treats HW, all those go in line with
How he treats, what's the guy that offers him $1 million? Tillman. Yeah. Like it's crazy. It's not how any normal human would ever act in a business meeting where you're getting offered $1 million in 1911-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell the guy that just offered you $1 million and permanent retirement, generational wealth. Generational wealth. I'm going to come to your home and cut your throat. This guy's insane.
Yeah.
He has no idea how to really act as a human. That's actually him speaking the truth for once. That's him being honest.
That's who he is.
Yeah. That's him. He's like, you know what? You just kind of annoyed me. I got a lot going on. I'm pretty sure I could take this to the top. I want to kill you. I'm looking at you across this table and I want to cut your throat. And I'm not afraid to say it because I got my brother Henry next to me.
Yep.
The fact that he kills Henry's crazy.
I could probably talk about this movie for another hour. There's so much depth in this bad boy, but let's go ahead and get our ratings in. So Scott, new rating system. We got 5 categories. We can just do it on our phones since we don't have our miraculous whiteboards with us today, Gray.
Okay.
We'll do, there's 5 categories. You can play along with us if you want with the rating system. You got acting, editing, cinematography. What's the other one? Acting, editing, cinematography, writing, and enjoyability.
Yeah.
So acting goes in obviously with the performances. How were those? You can kind of the depths of it, how to portray the themes, the story, and all that stuff. Editing, how was it paced? Did you like? Was there any weird cuts? Was it smooth? Anything you saw that you didn't like or that you really liked? You have cinematography, where the shots telling the story very well. The themes, where this was the camera giving you the vibes of the movie, and then writing goes into the theme, symbolism, character development, all that kind of stuff. Enjoyability, how did you personally enjoy this movie? Where does that rank among your list of movies? So let's go ahead and do our ratings here.
And there's some math here.
You just got to add each rating you give, add it together and divide it by 5, and that's your final rating score. So we'll go ahead and lock these in right now. We'll be right back.
Ready.
Ratings are locked. Gray, go ahead and debut what you think of There Will Be Blood.
All right. Acting is 10.
Yep.
10 times 1,000.
100%.
I think everybody brought it.
Even the children.
Yeah.
HW as a kid, I mean, that
Dude,
acting is insane as a
crazy.
kid.
No, acting kind of blows my mind in this movie. This was crazy. The editing is an 8. I don't know. Sometimes it's a little slow for me, but you know, that's just the kind of movie watcher that I am. I'm like, we can go. But cinematography is a 9. They do a good job showing landscape. I'm also mind blown that they were right next to No Country for Old Men on this one.
You mentioned that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. In fact, they slowed down No Country for Old Men production because of the oil rig like blowing up, burning, and it just caused all that black smoke. So that they were just like, oh yeah, like we can't shoot.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Writing 9. I think it's great writing, but I think the acting carries the writing even more. But I love that they actually. How do I put this? I love that they show how fucked up Daniel is.
Yep.
And but I also love that they like have him explain exactly who he is as a character. Enjoyment 9.
9.
Yeah, this is a damn good movie, bro.
Total score?
Yeah, bro, this is fun.
You didn't do the math?
No, I did, but I had a typo.
All right, you just do it real quick.
8.8 for me.
Total score, 8.8?
8.8.
Nice. Scott?
All right, I got acting at a 10.
Yep.
Obviously, editing 10. I
Nice.
love the few intentional cuts.
Yeah.
Cinematography, I put for a 9. They were really pushing the film, like shooting at real low light and everything. Shooting high noon, so they had some trouble there. But like, I love how they shot the landscapes. I loved the close-ups.
Yeah.
Writing 10. Thought it was just perfect all around. And then enjoyability. Okay, yeah, I just wrote an E, so I was like, what is that? Enjoyability 10, and that's a 9.8.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I have acting 10, no arguments there, disputes there. Editing 9.5. I do like the intentional cuts. I think for what it is and what their intention was, they did it damn near perfectly. It's great with that. Cinematography 9.5. That kind of goes in line with the intentional editing, moving the camera. They do a lot of long takes, which are cool, which force you to be in the moments of these characters and really sit there and be with them, which is cool. Writing 10 out of 10. I think how they write each character, the complexities, having Daniel's character being a very complex evil man, even with Eli, who you think is a good man, but then revealing him as he has some twisted things, even though he's not 100% evil, you see some flaws in him. That's just great. All these characters are so complex, and the themes are great with the greed and the evil. All of it's beautiful. Enjoyability 9.5. It's not a perfect enjoyability for me. It is a slower movie. The more times you watch it, the more you do enjoy it. Like I remember the first time I watched it a while ago, I did like it, but I was like, oh, it's kind of slow. Maybe I didn't really understand it. Second time watching it, I was like, damn.
I didn't way more into it
Yeah,
that second
I didn't
watch.
realize how deep this movie was. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. And then watching it for the third time for this, it was like, yeah, there we go.
You know
So
what your problem kind of is that there wasn't enough killing.
Well, there's
There was a little bit of killing, but not a lot of killing.
Yeah, I don't need a little bit of killing. I need a lot of killing. So my total ends up being 9.7 overall. I think it's just a great all-around movie. It's not a action Django Unchained type, just locked in, ready to go. But as it comes to a great movie and creating a great movie, this is a prime example of that exact thing.
I think kind of a risk too for making a movie like this. 'Cause I feel like initially, if you're talking about an oil man that's making it big, and I don't know, just this time period it's not Western. It's not like Wild Wild West.
Yeah, it's
I think this is like a risky time period to like try and make in a Hollywood industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this was like the most perfectly executed this type of movie could be.
It's a pretty good success. $25 million budget, and it
Killed.
grossed over $76 million worldwide.
Did this win the Oscar? Oh,
2
hold on,
Academy
sorry.
Awards.
What did it?
It's got to be for Best Actor.
Right. But you're also forgetting this was going against No Country for Old Men.
Oh, same year. These came
Yeah.
out?
Well, no, I mean, I want to look that up.
Yeah. Let's see what awards it won. Did y'all see that they just now instated the rule in the Oscars that you have to watch the movies in order to vote?
Yeah, that's insane.
How was that not a rule before? Because that's why Dune didn't win stuff, because the voters
No one
didn't
watched
watch
it?
it.
Somebody saw a trailer and was just like, no way.
I couldn't believe Dune wasn't mentioned.
That's crazy.
I think it was one thing. But
It's one of the greatest movies made.
yeah,
No, we
I
were
agree.
like,
That's what I said.
yeah, people are
The whole
like so
time.
mad about how Hollywood is just not good right now. But that was a really nice movie for them to give us.
Well, Denis Villeneuve, he don't miss.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
like, so like the this is kind of sidetracking, but the amount of praise that Sinners has gotten, which is great. It's an original movie. So yeah, let's give praise to some original movies so we can stop doing these fucking Kool-Aid
Remakes.
type movies.
Yeah. That was good.
So yes, let's praise the independent films, or independent stories. I mean, not independent, original stories. So that way we can bring back some cool There Will Be Blood types
Yeah.
into the box office.
Well, it was a book.
Fair.
Nice, Scott.
Loosely based though.
That's why you're here.
But still, okay,
That's
good
why
point.
you're-
IP.
Keep it real.
It was already IP.
Keep it
Good
real.
point. Good point. Okay. Anyway,
Okay, so
point still
this.
stands. Anyway,
So Daniel definitely won best
hold on,
actor.
let me finish this.
Oh, sorry.
So, like Sinners gets so much praise, but Dune Part 2 being literally one of the best movies ever made. Sure, it got praise from the fans, but it's not getting all the celebrities saying, you guys need to go watch Dune Part 2. There wasn't that much. Like Sinners is getting like an insane amount of praise, despite it being, me and Gray's opinion, okay. It's like,
Maybe we're wrong.
there's this weird thing going on where like the good ones aren't getting the praise.
Yeah.
And then, that kind of goes inside with the Oscar people not required to watch every movie that's nominated to vote on it. How's it? What? What?
I didn't
Give us
believe that
a
when I
Daniel
saw that.
Day-Lewis impression. What?
Well, my final thought. I'll give it my final thought.
Okay. So yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis obviously won Best Actor.
Well, yeah.
These
So
are
what was the awards?
nominations.
These are just nominations.
Oh damn. Well,
So it won Best Motion Picture of the Year and Best
Well-
Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role. Those are the two it won.
yeah, yeah.
makes
Because when
sense.
I think about it, yeah, No Country for Old Men. Everybody that understands that the Best Actor is what's his name
Who?
in No Country for Old Men?
Josh Brolin?
No, the Psycho.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Anton
The
Sugar.
Psycho.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Like stole the show. I mean,
what
Anton
is his-
Sugar.
yeah. Javier Bardem.
Nice. Sorry, that was a few episodes ago, bro. That was tough.
Had to
Yeah.
go through the depths of my mind to find that name.
Yeah, but so I guess it makes sense because he wasn't really the main character of that movie. Yeah, dude, Daniel Day-Lewis, I don't trust him. That's terrifying that he can just somehow go into his soul and bring that out. And on top of the fact that he was a method actor, like a real method actor, it was just on set acting like that the whole time.
Yeah.
Nice gizmo.
All right, Scott. Final thought on There Will Be Blood.
Oh, wait, I didn't get my
1
phone
second.
on.
Well, you're gonna go next.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry.
Don't be greedy, bro. We just watched a movie about greed. Did you not learn your lesson?
I drink your milkshake, bro.
Someone else go first.
Okay. My final thought, great movie. Love this movie. Love that they were able to incorporate I'm Your Brother from Another Mother. I love that they were able to find an actor that was able to deliver that like so seriously. Because the second time I watched that, I don't think I caught it on the first watch.
No, he literally says, "I'm your brother from another mother."
Yeah, he says, I'm your brother from another mother. I can't even do
He
it.
does.
I can't even do it. He
No.
says, I'm your
I
brother
didn't
from
catch that
another
either.
He does say it.
He says, I'm your brother from another mother. And he says it so perfectly in tune. I feel like that's the only way that guy got that role. It was like, can you give us a very serious delivery of I'm your brother from another mother? And he did it. And they were like, yeah, we got you.
I love that's your final thought.
Nobody else could have done that. So the fact that they were able to deliver that without me really laughing just shows how beautiful this film was.
Scott?
My final thought is Paul Thomas Anderson's movies are slick. That's the best way.
That's your word of choice.
That's
Slick.
the best way to describe his movies.
Yeah, that's what's up. Oil, dude. Yeah.
My final thought is, if I had a straw, a long straw, I'd reach all the way over here and I'd drink your milkshake.
Should we? Okay, let's try it. Should
Okay.
we try our best Daniel Day-Lewis impressions?
Yeah, okay, I can do something better. I need to hear his voice again.
You can. No, you've been doing a great Daniel Day-Lewis impression. Not on camera. Yeah, I get it. You're a little reserved. You don't want to showcase it for the people, but you do a great Daniel Day-Lewis. So, and you have the mustache too.
True.
I mean, you're
Not as mean as Daniel's, but
no, not as
half there.
scary. No,
Yeah.
but okay, let's do the milkshake scene.
okay,
All right,
bring it in.
it's live. Yeah. Okay. If I have a milkshake and you have a milkshake, I take my straw all the way across the room and I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
That's pretty good.
That wasn't my best. I'm pissed. I'm pissed that that's what I brought to the camera. I know I have it in me.
I feel like I got it better once if I hear him.
It's because we've been listening to ourselves. As soon as
Right.
you're done
I'm
watching this
distracted by
movie,
our own bad impressions.
you can do a real Daniel Day-Lewis impression of what he sounds like. Okay, now I'm ready to go. Okay. If I have a milkshake and you have a milkshake, I take my straw. Look at here. And I take it across the room and I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
I drink it up.
That's my official impression. That was it. That's all I had. I left it all out there.
Scott's got to do one too.
Yeah.
I was taking my love off.
Yeah.
No. We're still here for another hour.
What do you want me to say? Says that.
I pay you. No, that wasn't it.
Bro, don't focus on the camera.
I know what you're about
Just
to do.
do it, bro.
I
You
know
can
what you're
do
about
it.
to
I've
do.
seen it. Go crazy style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing it all night.
If I pay you, I expect you to bounce on it crazy style.
You actually did. No talking.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
want crazy style.
Don't speak a word to me. When you bounce on it, you look at me and you say no words.
Yeah,
Understand?
there you go. I like silence. Maybe a couple animal. I like silence. Maybe a couple animal noises here and there. But for the most part, I like silence.
If I slap you, do not make a noise.
You have 2 milkshakes. I drink them up. Okay. All right, I'm done. I'm done.
We're getting darker and darker on Dan.
That's good.
Sorry.
And that's the episode, folks.
All right, thank you guys for listening. Comment below your thoughts on There Will Be Blood. Give us your rating. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you're listening there. We will see y'all next week. We are out.
Well, I've been working like a dog trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check in the mail, I'll have enough for closing time. And I've been cussing like a sailor since I ran out of weed. My tank is